Today we're going to work on adding a mesh panel into the side of this pant. You can do the same for a jacket or a shirt or whatever. So I downloaded a mesh pattern from the internet and I went ahead and put it into Photoshop, and the original pattern is probably 3 by 3 or 5 by 5. So I went ahead and Photoshop extended it. You can see it's a little bit stripy. You can probably take more care and a little bit more time in making it a little bit smoother in transition, but for our purposes, I went ahead and just added that. Now we're going to add a panel right in here. So for my style line, I'm going to start from this side. So I'm going to go ahead and select the internal polygon line, and I'll start probably about here and go about there. Let's align that properly. And we'll curve it. And let's check to see how close the seams hit. And it hit pretty much right on. So that'll be our panel. That's going to be our panel that we're going to insert the mesh into. So now we're going to use our edit, and I'm going to cut and sew this panel, and I'm going to cut and sew that panel. So this is going to be where we're going to inset our mesh pattern. Now, we don't want this side seam, so what we're going to do now is we're going to merge these two halves, or having these two panels on these two sides. So once we do that, there's probably going to be a little discrepancy in overall space in between here, but we'll adjust that. So let's go ahead and merge. Now immediately you can see how the hem is off, and we can go ahead and adjust that. Let's take a look. Now it's this point here that's off, so we need to bring this down. And let's animate that, see how that works. So that looks okay. So the hem looks fine. And how did that now go up here? So you can see there's going to be a little bit of fullness here. And what we need to do is this part that's sewed into here, there's going to be excess fabric. So what we need to do now is release this side from sewing. So let's do this. We're going to edit, and we're going to delete the sewing. And it's going to reduce, and it's going to release that fullness that gathered there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this point, and I'm going to reshape that again gradually. And let's sew up these two sides again. So that is smoother. All right, so now let's go ahead and add our mesh. Now I've already created my mesh pattern. And I will place it here. Again, it's 30 inches by 5.5 thereabouts. So this is going to be a little bit short, but it's okay. I can adjust it. So now I'm going to rotate it, and I'll expand it just a little bit. And now we have our mesh inset. And we'll do the same for this other side. Copy, and I'm going to mirror paste. Now there's actually another feature in this called mesh, believe it or not, but it has nothing to do with the real mesh fabric. So as you can see, our pants kind of got lost here. So we can tug and we can tug, but there's a feature in here that's actually called the mesh, selecting mesh. So when you select mesh, you get this pattern. And what this helps you do is when your garment is kind of off kilter, you can use this mesh pattern and select this pant leg and see how it turns green. Now what you can do is it helps you kind of get your clothes back without pulling all the entire garment. It's just where it's highlighted in green. And it makes it a little bit easier than the normal way of kind of pulling and tugging your garment. And so forth. Anyway, so it makes it a little bit easier, and you can do the same for the other side. But that is how you would inset the mesh.